All right, so this is the buy-in process, okay? And there's really three main stages to the buy-in process. The first stage is to get an offer. So let's say, for argument's sake, I've gone to the estate agent, I've seen a property I like, they've took me on a viewing, so I've gone to the property, I've looked at it, I like it, and the property was on the market for 200,000. I've now said to the estate agent, do you know what, I really like the property, but I've only got 190,000. Could you accept that? The minute they say yes, it's accepted, then that's your first stage. Okay, so that's the offer stage. And more often than not, which I think most of us do in most areas of life, is whatever it's advertised for is never really what they would accept. So always try and offer something a little bit lower, and you would probably, once there's not loads of demand, you will probably get it for a little bit lower. So always go in lower than advertised. The second thing is exchange. So exchange is when it gets to the point where the broker's been on board, the application's been done, all the searches have been done, and it's at a point where everyone's happy with everything that's going on with this property, and it's now legally binding. So the solicitor's drawn up contracts to say, we're definitely doing this now. And so that's what they call the exchange stage, okay? So that's the second part. And then the last part of it is what they call completion. And that's basically when everything has now been done. So the names have been changed, all the paperwork's complete, and your estate agent calls you and they say, it's complete today and you can come and pick up your keys. And that feeling there's no better feeling than the day that you go and pick up your keys. It feels like, I could give you lots of different examples, but, I don't know if anyone drives, but, it's like the day you pass your driving test, or, you pass that exam, or, it's just a really great feeling to just pick those keys up, So that is the buy-in process. So just to kind of end this presentation, really, I've just got the last couple of bits. So we kind of spoke about this already, about the things to consider, but just once again, be really clear before you get started on, first of all, whether you want to live in the property or you want to rent it out. Secondly, if you want to do it on your own, if you want to do it with somebody else. And as I mentioned earlier, you could do it with up to 4 people. My personal view on it would always be, if you can do it on your own, do it on your own, because then it's just less people to have to consider when you want to make decisions. But if you can't do it on your own, the quickest and easiest way to get onto the property ladder is to do it with other people. And like I say, once you've got a similar vision to them, or they've got a similar vision to you, then you can do that. Also, I mentioned about guarantors. So sometimes a lot of these banks, they will let you use your parents as a guarantor. So you might be able to buy something off the back of equity that they've got, or money or savings that they've got. So just look into some of those things as well. I haven't really touched on this too much, and I won't, but you can buy properties either under your name or in a business name. And again, due to new laws they brought in 2017, they make it a lot harder for people, the everyday person, to make money in this game. And so if you know for sure that you're trying to go down the property portfolio route, it's probably best for you from a tax point of view to do it in a company name rather than in an individual name. But if anyone wants more info on that, then just contact me and I'll break that down properly. Consider where you want to buy. So where can you afford to buy? And so again, check out Rightmove. Just put in an area, put in your maximum cost, and just see what comes up on there. There's areas like, I don't know, Stoke-on-Trent, like, don't ask me where the hell that is, but they've got properties for kind of like 20 grand up there. So you're just like, okay, well, it's possible to buy properties for really cheap, but it's just, what does that mean? Is there demand for rent up there? how much is rent up there. So it's just, there's a lot of research that will need to be done around it. But, you know, if there was 4 of you and you could, I don't know, borrow up to say 200 grand, and there was, you know, 50 grand houses, or there was a hotel even up there for 200 grand, you know, you could really kind of maximize on what you're trying to do once you guys know what strategy you want to follow. And then, yeah, just consider how long it will take for you to save a deposit if you're going to go down that route. And yeah, I just say, you know, property is a long game. So it's not a get rich quick. It takes its time. Laws are changing all the time. So you got to keep on top of that, or hire somebody to keep on top of that. But yeah, just know that it's possible. You know, they always telling us that, you know, it's impossible for people to get on the property ladder, but it isn't, okay? And the final thing I'll say is just research some of these government schemes as well. So they're always bringing out these new schemes to help with deposits and all kinds of stuff. I will say around that as well, again, my opinion, but a lot of the government schemes, the government always wins in the end. It's a bit like the casino. So always look at the small print on these government schemes and make sure that, I don't know, like as an example, I think there's one called Help to Buy. And it's great. I think they give you like a loan towards your deposit, but then after a certain amount of time, you got to start paying double or something. I don't know the ins and outs, but you know, if you just waited that 5 years to save your deposit, you would be better off than, you know, getting the property then and then paying them the double price, if that makes sense. I'm probably not making sense, but just look at the small print would be my opinion, okay? So last things really, this is just a couple of things that I've learned along the way that the banks will not tell you. And I thought I'll just kind of point some of these out really. So the first thing then, I spoke a little bit about this already, but buying as an individual versus buying as a business. So again, it comes back down to your property strategy. But if you know that you're just buying a property for yourself, you know, you just want your asset, your one asset, maybe even two, then buying as an individual is okay in that instance. But what it is that you're supposed to pay tax on anything that you get, and how you can calculate your tax is different depending upon whether you're an individual or a business. So I won't go into the full detail on that, but let me just say that it's more tax efficient if you are going to have a property portfolio to buy it as a business, okay? And I can go into some more detail for anyone who wants to know when you're ready, okay? Now, consent to let. Now, I came across this by accident, and yeah, it's been my best kept secret, I think, consent to let. So what consent to let basically means, so I've said various times during this presentation that when you buy as a residential, they give you, they ask you for a 10% deposit. And when you buy as a buy to let, then they ask you for a 25% deposit. Now what consent to let is consent to let is the ability to buy as a residential, and after you've after you've owned the property for 6 months, you're able to change it to a consent to let, which means that you can basically rent it out. So what it basically means is you can essentially have a buy to let property for a 10% deposit. So if you knew that you wanted to go down the buy to let route, this is the unofficial way of doing it. So you get the property with your 10%. Obviously telling the bank that you're going to live in it. And then after it's time to remortgage, so let's say 2 years later when your fixed rate deal runs out, you can then change it onto a buy-to-let mortgage at that point, without you having to have spent all the time saving up your 25%. So it just means, yeah, that on paper, it will have you down as living in it. But once you've got that permission from the bank for the consent to let, it's fine then for you to put tenants in there, but you just have to have been in there for at least 6 months or have owned it for at least 6 months. So that's that. So that's one of my little secrets there. The other thing really, I've kind of mentioned already, but the banks won't tell you the advantage of having an independent broker because they obviously want to make the money on it. But getting a broker can often save you a lot and get you much better interest rates. So always seek that out before signing up with anything from the bank. The laws are always changing as well. So just keep an eye on that. Like literally every year since at least 2015, there's been a new property law. So whether it's a tax law, so like it's always something that helps the rich and, you know, I'm trying to not swear, and messes up everybody else basically. So just keep an eye on that, okay? You know, just keep an eye on kind of what the laws are and stuff, and often to do with tax as well. You know, it's always to do with tax somewhere, or, you know, there's things you can do or can't do. And then like in the really small print, unless you've got this thing, and you know, that this thing is always something that rich people have, but no one else does. And, you know, tries to keep you down. The other thing is that there are other schemes out there. So if, for argument's sake, you want to get into property, you feel like it's going to be impossible for me to raise a deposit of that cost in the time that I want to get into property, there's lots of other things around. So as an example, there's something called rent to rent, which is getting quite popular now. I don't know if anyone's heard of it before, but in a nutshell, it's you being able to rent a place from a landlord and then rent it again to somebody else. So you end up getting the cash flow for that property. The landlord gets guaranteed rent so that they don't have to deal with the headache of property management, which a lot of landlords don't like. And you just start to make money that way, which essentially can then help you get a property deposit for you to purchase one of your own. And I'm probably not doing that much justice at the moment, but there's loads of stuff around. So just, if you want to know more, just again, write it down, Google it if you need to. And what I can do with Darren at the end is just share some of the links and stuff that I've got to some of these businesses or people who focus on those things, and pass it on to anyone who's interested, okay? So that is the end of my slides. So does anybody have any questions at all? I know I've probably gone a little bit over.
Anyone got any questions? Actually, there's a question in the chat box from Abdifatar. What did it say? If you have land abroad, what process would you go through if you want to rent it out?
So in all honesty, I don't have much experience with properties from abroad, but if it was me, what I would probably do is contact a local estate agent from that country. So there's going to be, well, I would either do that. No, I would definitely do that. But I was thinking also you could still put it on things like Airbnb, but you're still going to need somebody who's overseeing what's going on, like somebody local. So I would probably, yeah, unless you've got a relative wherever, then I would get a local estate agent to, from, when I say local, from that country, to manage that process for you.
Anybody else got any questions? Someone asked, can they get access to the slides? I will get the slides from Neisha for you. Anyone else have any questions? No?
No.
No. Going once, going
Do
twice.
you guys, I'll say that again, sorry.
No one's got no questions, no?
Oh no, I have a little question actually. Do you do any internships or anything like that? Or are there any like opportunities to do internships and stuff like that in property to learn a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, do you know, it's not even something I've thought of before, but yeah, could do. I mean, yeah, don't know. I suppose so. Let me get back to you on that. I'll speak to Darren about that.
No problem, no problem.
The rest of you, this is your time, don't be shy. Don't be coming to ask me questions tomorrow.
Do you guys feel that property is something you still want to get into?
Ooh,
Yeah, you should look.
Yeah.
You should look to the internship. You should look to the internship.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like that idea actually. That's good. That's really good. Yeah, we'll talk to that. I'll talk to Darren.
All right. You know what? If no one's got no more questions, if you do come up with any questions, obviously, just let me know. I speak to Neisha regularly, so I can just pass them on to her. But Neisha, thank you very much, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. And if you do have any questions moving forward, like Darren said, just feel free to pass them over to him. I'm happy to help. And more than anything else, I want to create some. Let's get some property millionaires. Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. You have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.